My boy, my Leo, he had this laugh. Started low in his belly and just bubbled up till his shoulders shook. He wasn't a saint. No kid is. But he was good. Kind. The sort who'd stop to help an old lady with her groceries even if it made him late. He loved cars, tinkering with engines, dreaming of opening his own garage one day. That night, the rain was coming down in sheets, the kind that makes the world feel small and close. Leo had gone out with friends just to grab a burger, normal stuff. Then the call came, the kind that makes your blood run cold before you even hear the words. "Ma'am, there's been an incident involving your son, Leo." The hospital was a blur of fluorescent lights and antiseptic smells. They wouldn't let me see him at first. A doctor, his face tired and drawn, told me Leo was gone. "Altercation with police officers," he said, like it was a weather report. Altercation. Such a clean, sterile word for what they did to my boy. The story the cops told was neat. Leo was speeding. They pulled him over. He resisted arrest, got aggressive. They had to subdue him. Subdue. Another one of those words. Their report said he had a history, that he was known to them. Lies, all of it. My Leo had never been in trouble, not really. A speeding ticket once, maybe. The local police investigated themselves, of course. Cleared the officers, case closed. Just like that. My son, buried, and the men who did it were back on the street, wearing their badges like nothing happened. I saw them sometimes, cruising our neighborhood, and a raw, hot anger would burn in my chest. They thought they got away with it. They really did. They'd even smirk, a couple of them, if they caught my eye. Like I was nothing. Like Leo was nothing. The days turned into weeks, then months. The world kept spinning. People went about their lives. But mine had stopped. It was like living in a fog, a heavy, gray fog of grief and helplessness. I wrote letters. To the mayor, the city council, the newspapers. Most went unanswered. Some people whispered I was crazy, a grieving mother, who couldn't accept reality. But I knew my son, and I knew those cops were lying. My little sister, Sarah, she's a fighter. She said, "We can't let them win, Maria. We just can't." She found a young lawyer, fresh out of school, full of fire and ideals. He believed us. He started digging, talking to people. He told us about the FBI, how sometimes they look into cases like this, civil rights stuff. It felt like a tiny pinprick of light in all that darkness. We filed a federal complaint. More waiting, more silence. I almost gave up so many times. I'd sit in Leo's room, holding his old baseball cap, the smell of him faint, but still there, and I'd just weep. What was the point? They were too powerful. Then, one crisp autumn afternoon, the lawyer called. His voice was different, crackling with something I hadn't heard in months. Excitement. "Maria," he said, "the FBI, they're taking the case. They're actually going to investigate. Hope. It was a fragile thing, easily crushed, but it was there. The FBI agents were different, quiet, professional. They didn't make promises, but they listened. Really listened. They re-interviewed witnesses, people who had been too scared to talk to the local cops. They looked at forensic evidence the local PD had overlooked. The trial was a nightmare, sitting in that cold, imposing courtroom, day after day. The officers, Miller and Johnson, sat there with their lawyers, looking so confident, so untouchable. Their version of events was slick, practiced. They painted Leo as a thug, my insides twisted with every lie. I clutched the small, worn photo of Leo I kept in my pocket, his smiling face a stark contrast to the ugliness in that room. Our lawyer, bless his heart, he fought hard. He poked holes in their stories. He brought up inconsistencies, but it felt like pushing a boulder uphill. The defense lawyers were smooth, experienced. They made our witnesses sound confused, unreliable, I could feel that fragile hope starting to dim again. The jury looked serious, but it was hard to read their faces. Then came the day. The day the prosecutor announced his final rebuttal witness. A name was called, one I didn't recognize at first. And then, the courtroom doors opened, and in walked a man in a dark suit, with an air of quiet authority that filled the room. The whispers started. "Is that... It can't be... It was." The director of the FBI, himself. He walked to the stand, calm and steady. The whole room was silent, stunned. Even the judge looked surprised. Miller and Johnson, the cops, they weren't smirking anymore. I saw a flicker of something in Officer Miller's eyes. Was it fear? The director didn't speak for long. He didn't need to. His voice was clear, precise. He laid out the findings of the FBI's independent investigation. He talked about specialized forensic analysis of Leo's clothes, of the patrol car. He spoke of internal inconsistencies in the officers' statements, timelines that didn't add up, physical evidence that contradicted their claims of a struggle. He wasn't emotional, not like me. He was just factual. Devastatingly factual. He explained how the patterns of injury on Leo were not consistent with resisting arrest, but were consistent with a sustained, brutal beating. He talked about how certain procedures had been violated, how evidence had been mishandled at the local level. He didn't shout. He didn't accuse, not directly. He just laid out the truth, piece by piece, like a careful surgeon. When he finished, you could have heard a pin drop. The air was thick. I looked at Miller and Johnson. Their faces were pale. The swagger was gone. They looked small suddenly. Human and guilty. The jury was out for less than a day. Guilty. On all counts. Obstruction of justice, conspiracy, deprivation of rights under color of law. I didn't cheer. I couldn't. I just sat there, tears streaming down my face, a different kind of tears this time. Not of rage or despair, but of... I don't even know the word. Relief, maybe. A heavy, aching relief. Like a stone I'd been carrying for so long had finally been lifted. Leo wasn't coming back. No verdict could change that. The hole in my heart would always be there. But his name, his memory, it had been cleared. The truth, his truth, had finally been spoken, and by someone so powerful that no one could ignore it. Those cops, they thought, they were untouchable. They thought they'd gotten away with it. But they hadn't counted on a mother's love, a young lawyer's fight, and the integrity of a man who believed that no one, not even those sworn to protect us, is above the law. They didn't count on the director of the FBI taking the stand, and with quiet dignity, giving my Leo his voice back. And for that, I will be forever grateful. The pain is still there, but now, there's a little bit of peace alongside it. Just a little. But it's enough.